So, in the past 10 days, you
Officer
guys have-
Pocket, could you speak up? We are recording.
Yeah, of course. Excuse my voice, allergies are getting to me. You've had 16 total incidences. 1 was a larceny from a bicycle, 6 were from shoplifting and concealment, 2 were from larceny from auto and building, 3 from larceny parts from auto, 1 was a burglary, 2 were from larceny from auto, 1 was larceny all others. To go in more depth about everything, the bicycle was left outside of a store, unlocked, and a juvenile was seen taking the bicycle, leaving the location. So just remember, for your bicycles, buy a lock for it, clamp it up to a light post if you can, because if they see it, they'll take it. 2, the shoplifting and concealment was from the 7-Eleven at the 800 block of East Little Creek Road. They went inside, took a handful of lottery tickets, and left the location. Another one was at the CVS. A male and a female were seen taking personal hygiene material. And the other was a larceny from a building, which was at the 7-Eleven as well, where they took the worker's cell phone. Parts from autos from the license plates. The front license plate was taken. I have at the back a form that has specific screws that can prevent the thieves that are taking the license plates, that prevents them from taking it. It's a specific kind of tool, it's unique. It's not the standard ones that come with your plates when you go to the DMV or the dealerships, so it makes it hard for them to take it. The burglary was cleared by arrest. Victim came home to find her back door was smashed. They caught the suspect. Another parts from auto. The front license plate once again was taken. The 3 of the rest of the shoplifting was as well as the CVS. It seems to be the same gentleman who took earbuds, he took some laundry detergent, and some laundry soap pads. Larceny from auto. The vehicle was left unlocked and a book bag was taken, so please keep in mind, keep your vehicles locked. I know sometimes we forget and we're in a rush with groceries or anything like that, as well as I've learned recently that the key fobs, if they're close to your vehicle, they can still hit the push button and they can still take off with it. So just keep in mind, if you have the key fob with the push start in their cars, try to keep it far away from the vehicle in your house, so that way it's not close enough to where the car can still start even though the key's not in the car. The larceny from building, the victim accidentally left a bag on the counter. I'm not really sure how that's larceny from building. That's what the narrative said when I was reading it. Larceny all other, an engine was taken out of the vehicle. The gentleman was working on the engine outside. He left for a few moments to use the bathroom, I believe, and the engine was taken. And with parts from auto, last but not least, 4 hubcaps were taken off the vehicle. Yes. And upcoming events that we have our community forum at November 12th. We have the police department's yearly trunk or treat, which is October 26th, 8 to 8:30 p.m. at the Target on the Military Highway. We as well are hosting our own trunk or treat at the Southern Shopping Center, which I have flyers at the back on the table as well. October 29th at 6 to 8 p.m. and that's once again at Southern Shopping Center. Does anyone have any questions for me? Were you raising? Oh, okay.
I'm going to Target. We donated $400 to Target.
Well, there you go.
Right.
Any questions or concerns?
No, I think so. That's it.
Okay.
I appreciate your time.
And here we have my Lieutenant Branning.
Good evening. I'm going to come up and say a few words. I'm not going to take a lot of time.
Okay. Well,
I'm not normally long-winded, short, sweet, and to the point. Lieutenant Branning, I'm the executive officer. Lieutenant Armstrong is ill. He's come down with some kind of respiratory virus or something. So we didn't want him here coughing and hacking on you. So I'm here and I wanted to come by and say hello. I'm actually car agent. I'm in charge of the city, but I had to come by and see one of y'all. So you guys see, trying to come out to this thing on the 29th. This is our first one. We came to an idea that it was time to bring something back to our local group. And so we're going to do one in the 2nd Patrol Division. We've seen a few more things we've been doing, like the ice cream truck we've taken to different locations. Next summer, we will probably come somewhere like here or up Southern, park there, and everybody come up and talk to us and get an ice cream. So it's some things that are going on, especially for the kids and for the community. So hopefully we'll get a community walk closer to this area. We did one out in Bayview, went real well. It was very well receptive, and there were a lot of people out. So as we move more towards the springtime, we could get one more in maybe before the cold weather, but springtime, we're gonna try to get one closer to this area, get the community to come out and walk with us and say hello, talk to everybody in the neighborhoods. Please try to come out on the second Tuesday of every month. We have a community forum at the Second Patrol Division. We present different speakers, we have different things we talk about, we go over what's going on, and it gives you a chance to talk to some of the other civic leagues from the Second Patrol Division. So, and have y'all been to the Citizens Academy, any of y'all? Y'all need to go to that. It's a wonderful thing to show what we go through as a police department. You get to go through the range, you see the driving simulator, you get to do some other things. Next time we have one, we'll give them the next one starts. And we'd love to see some more people come out to the Citizens Academy. It's been going on for
At least 14 years.
14 or 15 years.
15 years.
When Sharon Chamberlain was here, we started this program probably longer than that, but because I've been a lieutenant 15 years, and so it's been going. Please, it's a great opportunity. Come there, you learn what we do, have some classes, and it's a great tool. So, anyone want to say hello? Yes, sir.
One thing I got for both of you, Northside Park, you know about the problems that are going on in Northside Park. What is the success rate you guys are having of eliminating some of that problem?
Recently, we've had a lot of success because we have a lot of Vice Narcotics has been there working on some of the vice issues. We have our tax squad when they go through there on a regular basis on their bikes. Right now, it's getting a little bit slower. As the winter comes, we see less and less people outside their vehicles in any locations. In the summertime, it's a little more difficult where they're going through those paths in the back.
It is prevalent still on Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Sunday mornings?
Mhm.
Okay. We'll get somebody out there on Saturday or Sunday morning. They'll take a note. We'll get a supervisor to send somebody out there early. See what we can do. If it's before sunrise, then they can't be there.
The suggestion I made a while back is if you guys got a spare canine unit, just the car, park it and leave it back there. They're not gonna know if that guy is in the car or in the woods.
It's very difficult for us to have any spare vehicles. We go through vehicles pretty quickly.
Right, but even just like on a weekend, drop it
Right.
off.
But they have 5 units. One of them's gonna be in the garage. That leaves them with 4 units. There's normally 4 canine officers. We just don't have vehicles that we can just park. We've done it in the past. They learned that there's nobody there pretty quickly, and it's really has very little impact. Initially it does, but within a day, everybody says, oh, there's nobody there. We
Well,
put them out on the traffic corners
yeah,
too.
not recommending you leave it there, but like on a Sunday morning, drop it there and you guys can then proceed to do what you need to do.
We'll see about that. I'd rather put policemen out there walking around, see what's going on. Sundays are normally quiet. I'd rather see what's going on for myself than I would be having a vehicle that's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get them vandalized. And now we gotta pay for vandalism on a car. So, we'll see what we can do. Northside Park shall make note of that, and we'll get something out to the platoons. Anything else for me? Yes?
What's, I mean, I walk the park twice a day, and I noticed 90% of the people that are hanging around back there are men.
Yes, sir?
What's the difference between men hanging around there and women hanging around there?
The men are there for a different reason, maybe?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it just seemed kind of odd. It's primarily just men. Every now and then you see a woman back there, but very, very, very seldom.
It has nothing to do with solicitation or any of that. It's where people go to meet each other.
Yeah,
It's been that way since I've been here, since 1979 when I came on the park.
yeah.
When that park, it's always in that back area, and back by the last parking lot on the left-hand side when you're going in. And we're doing some vice operations out there, and they've had some good results. It's just a matter of once you have one,
Mhm.
it slows down, and we have to, on a
Yeah.
maintenance, keep it up doing those things. Any other questions? As I said, I'm gonna be short. Y'all have a one thing, and we'll see y'all later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go.
I got a couple quick announcements here.
5 months.
One is,
16 days.
the American Legion Post is gonna have a trucker treat on the Halloween night. That's regular. They're gonna have the antique cars out there, and guys are gonna have candy in the back for the kids. It's regular trick or treat night.
When you get through with them at Southern, send them down to the Legion.
There you go. Listen,
They're
you're
gonna
gonna
have
do it on Thursday night. They're gonna do it on the 29th, right?
29?
Yeah, this is gonna be on the 31st. So
31st.
so they'll be half candied out time to get
Just tell
down.
them we're gonna be there the 31st.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and the second one is, we got, this Bike Norfolk people here, they're, getting a campaign together to clean up the trails back there on Saturday, November the 2nd from 8 to 2. And they appreciate all the help, the better they make them trails back there, the less people be wanting to go back there just to congregate. All right, and you've got something from the church you wanna say real quick?
Yeah, this is a very busy month for us. We also have our Harvest Fest on the 31st. So go to the Legion, then come to us, or vice versa. But ours will be 5:30 to 7:30. The games, the people wear costumes, lots of candy, hot dogs, those kind of things, yeah. Also, this coming Tuesday is the first day, Colonial Heights Church of Christ, I'm sorry.
833 Marvin Avenue.
That's right. Well, we kind of used to be. Now we're sort of 831 Mayfield, but we're still in. Anyways, the parking lot's still off Marvin. This coming Tuesday we start the preschool. That for a year and a half we've been making plans for and setting up and working through all the procedures and processes and everything. And the class that's going to be with us actually started at OV Church in their library, but they're moving over. We have plenty of space. If you know somebody that has a 3 or 4 year old, we'd love to have them come and see the place and see if it's the right place for them. We also are reopening officially our food pantry on the 19th. It'll be the 3rd Saturday of each month for the foreseeable future. And the closed closet will open in November, but starting a week from Saturday will be the food pantry official reopening. We also have our rock painting, and hopefully you see a lot of this stuff on nextdoor.com. We want to keep you up to date. But thank you for your encouragement and support through it all.
All right, thank you. All right, Bob, you got a.
We've got Ted Drake is here with the Rob
Hey.
Bloxham campaign. Want to give you a quick update?
Real quick, pass out your little brochures. and
I'll
we'll-
take them available if you want them. My name's Ted Rick. I'm helping Rob Bloxham get reelected. Election's November 5th. If you have any questions about anything going on in the campaign, I'll be here for now or for afterwards if you want to ask about it, or you got any questions now. Rob's, he represents the Eastern Shore, which is 52 of the 80,000 people for the district. There's 8 districts in Norfolk, and you all are one of them,
Yeah.
in one of them. So, be available for questions.
All right.
Pam wants to speak about both of that.
Oh, okay, jump up real quick. I'm sorry.
Also running for the 6th Senate, a young millennial business owner from Eastern Shore, nominated kind of late in the game. Her name's Liz Blanchford. It's kind of good for this generation to step up into civic service. So, young, bright business owner, very unique. So I highly recommend, if you have any questions, that you can touch with her or I can answer questions.
All right, Gary.
Dog park guys, we have now got it painted out so you can go over there and see the lines exactly how big this thing is. It goes all the way from right there at the tree where there's a slight U, all the way to a little past equal to the McDonald's, and from about 8 feet from skate park to about 4 feet from that power panel area. We've also already got $772, so we are getting somewhere.
And, did you want to have a little talk about your endeavor? About the.
Just real briefly,
Yeah,
for,
I mean-
so especially as we talk about, things going on at Northside Park.
Right.
Disc golf and is now at, Poplar Hall Park. It's at Lafayette Park in front of the zoo. And they've seen a real, positive influence from folks throughout the day and throughout the seasons particularly at Poplar Hall Park. Just kind of, because there's people going through, and especially if you've ever been to Poplar Hall Park, there's a back area where there was drugs, sexual activity, various things going on back there, vagrancy, and now that is really cleaned up, and so I feel that'd be a really good fit for Northside Park.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Thank you.
yeah.
And Wes and I are working together to get a fundraising position for the dog park also.
All right, Mr. Mayor, your turn to defend yourself, I guess. Now that you know they got a frisbee golf course around your place back there in Poplar Hall, you,
Yeah.
He's out there playing it already, him and
Not
Daryl.
yet.
not yet? Come on now, you gotta get out there and see if you can get competition for them youngins out there. All right.
Well, thank you well, look, let me just say good evening, and, it's good to be back at Crossroads. It's been, a few months since I've visited with you. It's always good to come to Crossroads. It's one of the civic leagues that I have often said that I can really gauge the temperature of the city. Because when I was here a few months ago, I often share with you that your reaction to polling, to elections, it's usually evenly split, which is a great signal of where the city and the country should be right in the middle. And I really enjoyed that about your civic league. Let me hit about 5 different topics, and then I love to do Q&A. I learn so much when I listen and you share with me your thoughts and your concerns. Always like to talk about the budget. I'm a small business guy.
Kenny, can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, scary.
Thank you. I can barely hear you.
As a small business guy, I often talk about the budget because that drives policy. You can have all these wonderful ideas and wonderful thoughts, and often you have politicians and advocates with a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas. But at the end of the day, someone has to pay for those thoughts and ideas. So our budget is about $1.39 billion. So it's large, it's a big budget. However, only $900 million of that is general fund. And general fund is non-discretionary. Well, I should say it's discretionary because I can spend it however I want. I being the city, being the council. Then the remainder is non-discretionary, non-general fund. And that's usually earmarked, targeted, because it's usually federal money, state money, or money comes in from military spending, and that's a pass-through, so we can't move that money around. So out of the $900 million, public education gets 37 cents of every dollar we take in. That is still the largest expenditure for our city. So for every dollar that we take in, 37 cents right at the top goes into public education. A lot of times we get beat up for not doing enough for schools. Well, we decided to pass a revenue sharing formula, which is unique to Norfolk. And what that means is that there is guaranteed money that Norfolk Public Schools will get from the city as our revenues come in from certain buckets. We're going to automatically share that money with them. Having said that, they being the Norfolk Public Schools, got $3 million on ongoing spending just with that revenue sharing formula. Their total budget is about $416 million. 126 of that, 26 million is from you. And the remainder is either state or federal. The next budget driver is public safety, but it's nowhere near what we're spending in public education. Their percentage is about 14%. So 37% for public education, 14% in public safety. And what they have been able to do, our public safety officers, our policemen, what they have been able to do in the city of Norfolk over the past 36 months is remarkable as it relates to the reduction of crime. Violent crime is down, shootings are down, and overall crime is down in Norfolk about 23%, thereabout. And that's because of the men and women that you see behind you and those who are currently working. Over 700 sworn officers.
Right at that.
Every day, out there working to keep us safe and protecting and serving. The next area I wanted to talk about after, the budget, in education and public safety, is economic development. We have to continue to be competitive. We're competing not only against, Virginia Beach and Chesapeake, and Newport News and Hampton, or the cities in the 757. As a region, we're competing against other regions in the southeastern United States. Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. They're competing for the same talent, the same businesses, the same opportunities as we are. So how do we stay competitive here in Norfolk? Well, we strongly believe in career and technical education. Now, here are some stats for you. For every graduate degree, okay, we need 7 highly skilled, highly trained individuals just with a credential. For every 2 bachelor's degrees, again, we need 7 highly skilled, highly trained individuals with a credential, either some type of licensure or certifications, certificate. The 21st century workplace demands that type of credentialing. And here's another stat. 46% of all the kids that graduated from Old Dominion this year in Norfolk State with a bachelor's degree, a lot of them won't find jobs in their fields.
46%.
About 46% won't find a job in
What
their
kind of
field.
licensure are you talking about?
For the cyber, dental hygienist, electrician, HVAC.
You realize that half the building in Anthem's are full of H-1 visa people from India. We don't have people.
That's correct. And so that's Pam is spot on. And so part of the curriculum, the second piece is we have to advocate for a curriculum in K-12 as well as in our community colleges that responds to what the industry and what the businesses are looking for. We have a lot of duplication in higher education here in Norfolk. Old Dominion teaches English 111, 112, 113. Tidewater Community College teaches English 111, 112, 113. Norfolk State teaches English 111, 112, 13. So through a consortium, maybe only one of those universities should teach, and maybe another should focus on these high demand credentials and that the industries, and we're going to diversify our economy and diversify and grow our economy. What I mean by that is we're heavily dependent on military. We won't get away from that. It's part of our who we are. We have the largest naval base in the world, NATO Command, Supreme Allied Command Transformation, and Joint Force Command here, and U.S. Fleet Force Command. So there are a lot of commands, installations, and facilities here. So we won't get away from Navy or DoD spending. However, we need to diversify and grow our economy outside of heavily relying on military spending. And part of that is having a highly skilled, highly trained workforce that's attractive to these industries and cybersecurity, cyber intrusion. That's interested in healthcare. That's interested in resilience, in unmanned systems and technology. It's where these high-paying jobs are, and it's important. The second piece I wanted to share with you is about real estate. So jobs, education, public safety, jobs, real estate. Our values of our homes are going up. There's a 3.7% increase in the values of our homes over the past a year or two. And that's amazing because, at one time, we weren't growing. Our values were, people were upside down, underwater. But the values of property in Norfolk is going up, a 3.7% increase. We are issuing more building permits for new construction, for rehab, than we've done in many, many years. And that's exciting because what it means is Pam talked about millennials and the new generation. People are now moving back to Norfolk. They want to live in Norfolk, and I think it's because one is the quality of life. Crime is going down. There are a lot of investments that's happening in Norfolk. The arts, cultural scene is significant, with opera and with a theater, retail, having IKEA, having an outlet mall, having 7.5 miles of beach. That we had a sand replenishment program over the last Selma was part of that. The past 3 years, sand replenishment at Ocean View, Elizabeth River Trail, 10.5 miles of thematic open space along the Elizabeth River Trail, running from Old Dominion to Norfolk State. And that same trail, we will have our innovation trail connecting to this fiber ring that's coming in from the river and building out that fiber ring. And hopefully you'll see some businesses wanting to be around that high-speed, ultra-speed fiber broadband. The last thing I want to talk about before we do questions is two. One is St. Paul's. When I was here before, I announced that the city, we had to tackle St. Paul's. And some, or most residents who live outside of St. Paul's they've been receptive, but they want to know more about St. Paul's, because we're 4,200 people live in 23504 zip code. It's concentrated poverty. Poverty in Norfolk is 19%. Poverty in St. Paul's is 70%. 70. Unemployment in Norfolk is 3.6%. Unemployment in St. Paul's is about 56%. And so, if the officers were back up and they talk about call for services, high crime, high poverty, low academic achievement, the maps, you can just take all those maps and pile them on one another. And I said this to you before, that's not sustainable. It's expensive for us, it's taxing on them, and it really is not, the best outcome for those children. So 4,200 people, 2,200 of those are children who live in St. Paul's. It's about 1,700 units. It floods. The conditions there aren't that good. We won a CNI grant, Choice Neighborhood Initiative grant from HUD to start the work in St. Paul's with Tidewater Gardens. That's only $30 million. It's going to take much more than $30 million to really address the issues in St. Paul's, and to go back with a mixed income, mixed use neighborhood where persons who want to come back, some will come back, some will go other places. And one of the concerns that I heard, it was a valid concern, so well, where do other people go? They come to my neighborhood, come to your neighborhood. And so what we have done is to ensure that we as a city don't reconcentrate poverty. And that's been a concern. And we believe that previous councils, and when Hope 6 or the Ghent redevelopment programs, that a lot of those residents, we have no idea where they are because there was no way to track them. We don't know if we reconcentrated poverty, in Berkeley or Park Place, when you tore down Ghent, and we don't know. But if you look at some of the communities outside of public housing, and you still have poverty, where do those residents come from? Were they reconcentrated? And so you learn from your things that you didn't right in the past. So one of the concerns is that, and initiatives, is not to reconcentrate poverty to other neighborhoods, and that's a concern. Another piece of the St. Paul's work is putting people first, just not building a mixed income, mixed use neighborhood. What about the people? So our council put in the budget $3.5 million ongoing money for training, workforce development, job training, services for the individuals, so that we can strengthen them, strengthen families, and partnering with Opportunity Inc. and with Tidewater Community College and with other providers. And we're going to try to track and stay with them so we don't lose them. We we know where they are. And hopefully, that will deconcentrate poverty, increase employment and home ownership, and real opportunities for those individuals. I want to talk about vape shops, casinos, and gray machines all in one, one conversation. The first, let me say that you go anywhere in Norfolk or anywhere in Virginia, you're going to find these casino-style machines in 7-Elevens, other convenience stores, restaurants, vape shops, smoke shops. And these are, by definition, called gray machines. They look like a slot machine, they operate like a slot machine, and whether they are a machine of, or a chance, or game of skill, game of chance, there's a gray line there, a very fine line between looking at the machine. Is it, do you win because of your skill, or do you win just based on chance? And so those machines have been loosely regulated to the point that there have been reports that some stores and establishments have more than 4 machines, and more than they should have, because they're loosely regulated, not regulated at all. And then last year, 2018, the General Assembly added to that by approving legislation to allow 3,000 historical horse racing terminals or machines, which are slot machines. They define that as carving out a special exception for slots, for casino-style machines. 3,000, and it was given to a group called the Colonial Downs Group. And out of that 3,000 machines, they have placed machines in Hampton, and Benton, and Richmond. Benton is outside of Roanoke County, Benton, Virginia. Rosie's, and New Kent. And they still, and so some of these places have 700 machines, some have 600. And they still have 850 machines to install. They're working with the city of Dumfries. In Chesapeake, I think they paused their acceptance of about 700 machines. And so these are historical horse racing machines, terminal slots, and they are not connected to a restaurant or hotel or spa or anything like that. These are just emporiums full of slots. This is in addition to the 6,000 gray machines that's loosely defined, loosely regulated. And out of those gray machines, we may have a couple of hundred in Norfolk, in restaurants and stores and convenience stores. So they're around. We had a proposal to come to us, Norfolk, about a casino. And what I have shared with my council, although we, on the 24th, passed an ordinance, PH5, had a public ordinance on it. Before anything being land to be transferred to an operator of the proposed casino in Norfolk, it's a high or tall bar. One, there has to be either a compact created with the Commonwealth of Virginia or an application to be approved by the federal government. So people, one thing I want to clear, our vote did not transfer one brick, one shovel of dirt. If this thing never goes to closing, it would never happen. And you can't close until, one, you get a compact with the state, or your application goes all the way through the interior process. That's a high bar. Both of them are high bars. But when an applicant comes to us and want to buy land and not give it like most developers in Norfolk have done in the past, they give us the land, do the site work for us, do the infrastructure, and then give us all the taxes. That's what has happened in a lot of cases in the past. So if you have an applicant who comes and say, well, I wanna buy your land, I'll do my own site work. I'll do my own infrastructure. We have to entertain it. You know, whether they pass those other bars, we don't know. We entertain it. You gonna pay me 10 million for the land? You gonna do your own site work? You gonna provide your own infrastructure? But you know you gotta pass these other bars. The bar is set high. I don't know if you're gonna get there, but we'll entertain it. I just wanna make that clear. Now, having said that, I have been the first to admit and just make it very clear. Anytime we have citizens think that they need more information, we have an obligation to give them more information. And one side of the room they say, I'm fine, I got enough. This side, I say, you know what? I respect that, but I want more information. And I've always said that we can always do better, we always can do more. Any leader who admits that they have always done enough, then I don't want that person leading me. I've said to the Browns, and I've said to Lisa Suhe, I've said it to Andrea, I've said to everybody, I support the petition. I've never talked against it. People who want to sign should sign. That is our democracy. That's why we are America. We don't have a dictatorship, or we left tyranny, 400 years ago. And so I welcome the process, the democratic process. I respect it. I'm a student of it. I encourage it. But it's a long way to go before a brick is transferred to anybody to build a casino, because there are so many other processes in place. But what I want to make sure everyone understood, I've had people to tell me to give them that land because that land was trash. It was a field. It was a barrier. It's full of debris. So give it to us, and then pay me to clean it up, and pay for the infrastructure. And then whatever I build there, remit some of that tax back to me in a performance grant. I said no. I said no. I said no. Someone comes and says, I want to buy it outright. Okay, I entertain it. But you got some. So I want to make sure that's clear. But the fact that we as a council in the city didn't make that clear, I get it. And certainly that's part of the argument in the debate. Regardless of you like a casino or not, people felt that, we should have more information about it. And I think that's part of what I have pledged to do, is to make sure that we get information out as it comes. So what I've done on yesterday, today, I've requested more information from the developer. Tell us about your studies, tell us about your analysis, tell us about your reports. Well, someone said, Mayor, why didn't you get that before? Here's the reason why. They did not want to give us their studies, their reports, and their analysis before we at least agreed on some type of agreement. Because they say, well, you may take my information and go to MGM and rightfully so. Or you may, so we're gonna keep all of our stuff close to the breast, but if you're serious, enter into an agreement. And that's what we did on the 24th, entered into an agreement with some terms, conditions, and provisions. But we have an out, we have an escape clause. And I won't say no more about that. So all is not lost. And so, now let's do questions. All right, Pam, go ahead.
My favorite topic is always Cox, okay? Remember last place we were having luncheon, okay? I talked to someone else that let me know that Cox is also a preventer of us getting, there's a reason why high data use companies are not coming here. We don't have the infrastructure to support it.
Yeah.
And Cox is a big problem with blocking it.
Yeah.
I won't mention the fact that Cox is, the price is pretty high and the service is not good. And I don't think they have the infrastructure to support the $100, 300 megabits download internet that I buy so I can work from home.
Yes.
So, did we at least ask them to provide some performance guarantees, since I know we re-upped with them?
Yes.
And there's no other players that want to come in, because we said, well, you do the whole city or none of it.
Yeah, and that's what with Verizon, they wanted to come in, and we've had meetings with them. but we asked them to build out the whole network.
Yeah, whole city or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, and they just wanted to, what do East Beach?
Yeah.
what do
Well, and the
this-
surrounding areas of East Beach have FiOS now, and, you know, but,
So that's been a challenge. We hope that, we'll continue to work with Cox, but this broadband, this fiber, appears to be promising.
who's got the fiber?
The
Fiber ring.
Well, fiber, yes, that's the fiber that we pulled, that came from Europe. That's gonna, connect localities, universities, and hopefully, will, have spur lines to generate not only opportunities and jobs for people who are working,
There's a fair amount of people in here in Norfolk, even the office is right there, you look at them, I mean, I'm only in the office once a week.
and so here's the beauty and why we need this broadband and this ultra speed and high speed, not only for financial institutions who want to do stuff in real time, but telemedicine, healthcare, uploading and crunching big data and big files. It's part of that growing the economy, diversifying the economy, but also having it affordable.
Yeah, the average home health now, remotely monitors patients.
That's
for all
correct.
kinds of things.
Yeah. It's important to have it. So Pam, we continue to work on it. And hopefully, there'll be some breakthrough. But building up the whole city, whole network is important. You don't want these companies cherry picking.
Mhm.
And, that's not good. Okay?
All right, out of the 7 cities, which city has the biggest percentage of public housing?
Norfolk. Virginia Beach has 0. They have some vouchers, they have some people who get assistance, but the concentration of public housing in the region, we have it, hands down.
How much money does the city make on these gray machines, that's basically the back door?
Well-
And, I mean, we can call them games of skill,
Yeah.
but the reality is, most of the people that are paying them are from areas like St. Paul.
Yes,
They're
sir.
impoverished, they're Section 8, they're spending their money on gambling, they're playing it just like you would a slot in Las Vegas or, Atlantic City.
All right, so good question. So we have identified that there are 6,000 of these gray machines throughout Virginia. That's a report that we got, and over 200 are in Norfolk. You raise a valid question. The machines should be treated as personal property, and the revenue should be subject to BPO. And when I talked about they're loosely regulated or not regulated, that's part of the task force that I've commissioned. That's the city attorney is putting together, populating this task force. We have the police department, he'll be on, and some others. And we're gonna go out and try to figure out, one, where all these machines are, and let's levy the BPO on the revenue, because what I understand, those machines, there's a tape, there's a computer, and it spits out a tape, and you can know exactly how much the machine took in and how much that machine paid out. And so right now, I can't tell you, because it's loosely.
There's some crazy numbers right here specifically 3 months ago on how much revenue that the owners of the machines were making. That's why they were becoming so popular. I don't know the numbers. Do you remember the numbers, Pat?
I've heard someone making 3,000, 2,500. I've heard those numbers, but I can't substantiate. Part of the task force will figure it out.
I've heard that they were netting $1,000 a day on a machine. That's what stuck in my brain.
But we're not getting any of it.
I'm gonna put one on the street corner then.
Yeah, we're not, and so part of, again, if you're for games, games, skills, or when the General Assembly let those 3,000 machines, be approved through the Colonial Downs group, it's like game on. I mean, and so how do you get that genie back in the bottle?
Can't.
You have to go back to legislature. I mean, actually, the whole legislature, I went and read the legislation. It was kind of, it was backdoored in. It was tricked. They talked about one issue.
Talking about We
Yeah.
talked about, Colonial Downs,
Yeah.
historical horse races, next thing you know, you got these slots.
Yeah, exactly. They were disingenuous about what their intents were, and they knew exactly what their intents were, because if you had a copy of their business
Kenny.
plan, you would have seen it.
Off record, the 7-Eleven here at Fisherman, $6,000 to $8,000 a week
That's crazy.
for the store.
Yeah. Now, see, that's not
That's
subject.
$1,000 a day,
Yeah,
like Pam was
but-
saying.
so that's not subject to, right now, what.
Taxation.
That's what the task force is trying to get at the heart of. The machine itself should be treated as personal property, and then the revenue should be subject to BPO. That's what we're trying to define and clarify. And so that's
There's
part
a
of.
lot of people in town are just opposed to gambling period,
Yeah.
that's why you've got this group. There is a petition, if anyone's interested in signing it, that's opposed, and Kenny's not gonna get mad at you.
No.
I like Kenny, I'm gonna vote for him.
Yeah.
If you want a copy of the
I'm for it,
petition,
yeah.
and basically what it is, there's 30 days from the vote of council, they have to collect 4,000 ballot signatures, and most of you know I'm the king of petitions. I ran the
Yes.
school board campaign where we collected 17,000 petitions. I went after Burfoot where we collected 7,000 petitions, so I'm well versed on what you gotta do and how to do it. So if you're interested, it basically makes council beholdable to us, the citizens, vote by referendum, basically, as
Yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to just vote by council.
And also, I would say this, again, as I said earlier, I am not against that process. And if the state, when I'm talking about the two paths, the bar, even if the state comes back in the 2020 session and after the JLOC study that's coming out next month, that may provide some guidance and some framework to the legislators on gaming in Virginia. Even then, if that happens, for those localities that's named, or that will be named in the legislation to have gaming, even then, that would have to go to a referendum in November. So we're gonna, what I've said publicly, and I'll say it publicly again, we're gonna get a referendum one way or not, at some point. So I'm not opposed to a referendum at all.
Let's go into that. Go ahead, Gary.
What about like an actual business, Dragon Vapes? It's right up here on it is in our Civic League. Jeremy is actually not here tonight. He's a member, he comes in that. But his business is these gray machines.
He has great machines like many other.
Right. How
businesses.
is I know he went before planning council, Sherry went to that. How is the city planning, and Sherry said it seems like regulations all of a sudden just changed left, right, and center. How is the city planning to regulate businesses like him?
Well, so right now, restaurant, convenience store, I've seen them in restaurants, I've seen them in convenience stores. Well, Gary, places of assembly. Could have remember the Flipper McCoys and the Chuck E. Cheese and the.
Funeral homes and car washes and churches could have them.
Maybe that, yeah. But so right now, that's part of the task force that we're putting together.
Try to figure out how to regulate these.
Yeah, because.
Caskets get a free few right there.
Because the state, the state pretty much opened up an area.
But like he went in front of planning, and I guess he's coming in front of you next.
Planning will make a recommendation to us, but we are hoping that when planning make the recommendation, that we don't pass.
An open barn door.
No, you want to have something that it's impeachable, meaning that it's good for all those who are going to have these machines outside of the legislation that was passed by the General Assembly in 2018 or any other legislation that's federal. But these localities need to get a handle on these gray machines.
Good conditional use permit would be a.
Even convenience stores. I mean, you may see a change in how convenience stores just pop up. Maybe they should come and ask for a conditional use permit just to have a convenience store, because what happens is a guy get a convenience store, but he really wants to have slots.
Mm-hmm.
No, Grand and Banks, their whole premise is they were selling cheap vape juice so you could play their machines. Now they don't even sell the vape juice.
Just play the machines.
Just gotta play the machines.
Yeah.
If I understand, they tried to sneak in a whole bunch of more machines
So-
above what ordinance allow.
Right. So now is that entertainment establishment, or is it so? Yeah. And so that's what we need to kind of get our arms around, so that we don't, you want to regulate that type of activity. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
All right, there's a skate ramp at Northside, right? Well, across Tidewater Drive, a guy just opened up his skateboard shop. Well, he was on Baby Boulevard for a while. And when I was talking to him the other day, he says it's a big concern whether juveniles come across the street, there's no crosswalk anywhere. And also, he said he'd like to have maybe a fence in the middle, in the median, like they have at Ward's Corner, to keep, because the kids just come across. He said he sits in his place and just watches just zoom across Tidewater Drive with no concern about the cars, nothing, and the people coming down that street. Get hit. Put that fencing up in the middle of that, and put a crosswalk on either end of the.
That's where a dog park's gonna be, Pat.
Yeah, well,
Well,
that's
no,
true.
but he's talking, the median would be smart to have something where they're
Yeah,
not just
yeah,
running
that's
across
what
everywhere,
I mean,
but
he
they have
sits-
to go
he
to
sits
certain
there-
points.
Yeah.
And in the shop, and just looks out the window, just sees them run across the street. And he's concerned more than one day, there's gonna be several kids just get taken out.
Coaster Coffees has the same concern.
Yeah.
Used to have them at Woods Corner and they took them down.
No, those fences are still in Ward's Corner.
Some of them got run over, but they're still there at Ward's Corner. Also, if you come down Tidewater Drive, right there, there's three establishments there, the Coaster Coffee, McDonald's, and Pollard's Chicken. Going down Tidewater Drive, going towards downtown, there is no left-hand turn lane. So people stop halfway in the middle of Tidewater Drive and cause problems with people trying to go straight through. So I think that, traffic engineer needs to look at those 3 turn lanes there to put a left-hand turn in those 3 sections.
Parties.
Especially up there, the entrance to Northside Park at the same point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, you're right, if kids are just dashing across.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no barrier, there's nothing to,
Right.
yeah, I like the area where you have an open area, a break in the fence.
Right. Right.
So egressing,
Yeah.
I think it's good. Good.
One last question, when you're cleaning out Burfoot's office, did you find them shoe boxes of cash?
He's not gonna say anything.
They're in the
like that.
caskets now.
If I understand what you're saying about the casino, it's a good business deal for the city from the standpoint that property's being purchased, infrastructure and such is gonna be taken care of. And I understand about the high bar but assuming that they make it over that bar, has there been a lot of discussion about other impacts on the city of Norfolk? I know there's always concern about organized crime or, the need for extra security police. What's the discussion been
Yeah,
like?
so part of what I said earlier, we hired an attorney who is a tribal gaming attorney out of Washington with Holiday Knight. There are other studies and reports and analysis that they did, and certainly we want them. We would certainly do other impact statements and analysis, but it was no reason for anyone to continue to spend taxpayer money, and they weren't gonna share their stuff with us. We didn't know if they were serious enough.
Yeah.
So now that we have an agreement, what I've asked them, please provide me with several things. One, I want your application that you're sending up to the federal government. I need to see it within these 30 days. As Bob collects his signatures, I'm still doing, it's not like I'm just sitting, just waiting until Bob gets his 20,000 signatures.
Sure.
Actually, it's Max Shapiro running it, I was out of town when it started.
Okay. It's not that I'm just waiting and doing nothing.
Yeah, oh, sure.
So now that, we have agreed that, okay, you wanna buy the land, you're gonna want infrastructure, you wanna operate it. Okay. Now that I'm not gonna release your stuff, your proprietary, your confidential stuff. Now that I've signed, then give it to me.
Yes.
So I can scrutinize it, I can analyze it, I can assess it. So I'm not just not doing nothing.
Yeah,
So I'm
so
asking
they're
for-
doing those kinds of
Now,
studies.
some of the stuff they have done, now I'm asking, give me a preliminary application that you're gonna submit to the federal government. I wanna see what it looks like. What are you seeing? And tell me, I wanna see your compact that you are thinking about submitting to the state. And I want all your other analysis, as relates to your financial, analysis, what are from your history of operating casinos, if it's 750 machines versus 3,000 machines, what is the impact? Give me your traffic impact. What impact will it have on Harbor Park? Because they've done this. Now, within the 30 days, although they still have a high bar, if I find that from the information I requested and the information we're still doing, that this needs to be tweaked, amended, or just thrown out altogether, well, no one asked me, Mayor, do you still have that option? Well, I assure you, I still have that option.
I caught that earlier, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
all is not lost.
Sure.
The machines themselves, are they owned by anybody or are they rented from somebody?
No, the owner of the casino will be the Indian tribe, and they have backers and they have to borrow the money, and so.
What about these grade machines?
Is it Queen Virginia?
Queen Virginia.
So they're not owned by this group. This group has nothing to do with those gray machines.
But are they rented or are they owned?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
The convenience stores that have them and the restaurants have them, I don't know their relationship.
I believe I read it, I can't
They're leased.
verify, but yeah, I believe they're leased.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
leased, Pat.
Okay.
And part of our task force is gonna, because even if it's leased, you pay personal property taxes even when you lease something. You lease a car, I'm come knocking, you say, oh, my car is leased. I'm sorry, it's housed, it's parked in Norfolk. We are gonna collect personal property taxes.
Well, that's,
And then the revenue is, again, because there's a slip. We want you to pay BPOL on that revenue. So that's part of the work that we asked this task force to do. Because again, there are 6,000 in Virginia, over 200 in Norfolk, and they are loosely regulated, they're loosely defined. And then in addition to that, you still have the Colonial Downs Historical Horse Racing, which they don't have machines in Norfolk, but they're in Hampton, and they come to Chesapeake, they're in Benton, they're in Richmond, and they're in New Kent. And these are, by definition, games of chance. They are terminals, they are slots, they are historical, they're betting machines. So when the General Assembly opened that door, then the floodgate.
Sure.
What's your estimated timeline for this task force to be up and running?
We may have something as early as our next council meeting, so I met with the city attorney today on it. He's trying to populate the right people in
So
City
the
Hall
next
that
30
will be on
days.
it. And so they're gonna go out and try to figure out who has 4 machines, 6 machines, or whatever. And then, BPO, personal property tax. And so that's, even if we don't do the casino, even if the casino doesn't happen, we still gotta get our handle these machines, but they're here. So it's like I got 2 things going on. I got the casino application going on, then I got these gray machines that are popping up all over my city. And so I have 2 things I'm working. Yes.
I got a question, Mayor. It's a 2-part question, real quick there. Are we making any revenue on the scooters that we see around here? And the next part to it is there some way we can regulate it to where, like, we have the bicycles, they park them at Nauticus and all. Is there a way to do it? Because when, I drive around town Norfolk all day long, all over this whole city, all you see them is laying on the ground, unfortunately. And it doesn't look good for our city.
So 2 things. Yes, we're making money out of, you're gonna love this number. So out of Line, out of their worldwide market, when they launched here in Norfolk for a brief period, we were the 15th largest market for them worldwide. So now I think about 30, we're in the 30s. As far as laying them around, they're supposed to follow the same rules and regs as cyclists and respect motorists. And so a lot of the, seeing them, laying there, that's not, there are places where they're like docking places where they're supposed to be. And we got, and one of the things that we've talked about with, we were with the Virginia coordinator, Chris, and we asked him, he has to do a better job in the person that go around and pick them up and charge them. So we want more of that. I mean, it's right, cause right now they do it all at night, you know, they come in, they pick them up and charge them, and they bring them back. But for the market and for the demand, we think we need more of a robust, pickup service, turnaround and put it back. And right now, I think that at night, they go around and gather them. But during the day, you're right, they're all over, they're on people's lawns, they're on the street, they're in the right of way.
They're in the marsh at
And
Elizabeth River.
everywhere. So-
But unfortunately, that's the user, not Lime itself.
Yeah.
You know, you
But-
can't, I can't, I'll just use you as an example. I can't control you or your son where you decide to drop the equipment.
Right, it's behavior, I get it, but Gary, I still would say, they're the owner,
Mhm.
and, we're just gonna,
They need to start finding these people.
that's correct, finding, cause they know it, they know the last person, of course,
Used
that,
it.
right.
I've actually used one in a
Yeah,
disclosure.
they have all your,
They got all the information, yeah.
that's more
They
than.
start charging your app, put a fine on the app.
You don't take
or
it back.
a block on your app.
Right.
No.
So that's an enforcement issue and, some collaboration with, and we've already had that conversation, because you're right. And then, you know, some of the people, you talking about the skateboards, I mean, some people dash right in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
Especially kids when they're on.
And it's kind of scary.
It's a big problem in Austin, Texas. When I was out there in May for a conference, the cab drivers, the other drivers, the students at the university didn't pay any attention to where they were exiting or entering traffic, and the risk of accidents was incredible.
But then the city could also do more ordinances regulating that user.
City of Virginia Beach did just that. They prohibited them because it was crazy down at the ocean.
Oh, sure, yes,
You had
yes.
Lime scooters going in and out of traffic, ignoring every regulation, so they put them 4 blocks off the ocean front.
That's correct. And it's like Chesapeake, there's, you know, studying, you know, the use of them right now, and Portsmouth studying the use of them, because Lime scooters in Norfolk ended up in Portsmouth and Chesapeake. And how they get across the Elizabeth River through, I don't know. But
The ferry.
Trucks, back and pickup trucks.
The ferry.
So take them on the ferry, okay. So, yeah, so so they had to go over and pick them up in South Norfolk. But South Norfolk is easy because they come from Berkeley to Compostela. But Portsmouth, when they told me that, man, we got a whole bunch of them over in Portsmouth.
They're taking them on the ferry because they follow the GPS track.
But here's another stat they gave us. People 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, workers, people who work at the shipyard, especially around Line Shipyard and Kiwanis, that's correct, Kiwanis and Bay, MHI. They said they can look at the activity. And at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, a lot of scooters are going, guys who park, guys and girls, or gals, who park in like a lot. They take them to the ship or take them to the dock or take them to, and so they see a lot of activity. Commuter. And I was like, wow, I didn't think about it, that type of usage.
The commuting, and full disclosure, I happen to be an investor, guys, real well, but I also don't agree with some of their behavior. The commuting factor is really high, but the problem even Lime admits is the fact that the end user doesn't well maintain them and doesn't, you know, you can, like your cohort here said, they take a picture of it, but then they take that picture, it looks fine, then they chuck it in the bay, you know, or wherever, or in a tree. But then the city could also be, you know, treating them like a motorcycle, like a moped, and start actively ticketing these kids who are, you know, driving like idiots.
Well, the last thing I want to say is this: do vote on November the 5th.
Yeah, vote.
It's you know, all elections are important, but this is really an important election. I'm not on the ballot.
He's so glad.
Trying to defend yourself, huh?
No, but the balance of power could shift, and that's, you know, that's important.
Yeah.
You know, losing some institutional knowledge will be a problem for us in Norfolk. We have a lot of friends that are very friendly to our city, and they've been my go-to guys and girls, and they're on the ballot. I can't tell you who to vote for, but there are a lot of, and there's some open seats as well. The last thing I would say, please encourage people to complete the census, the 2020 census, and let me tell you the reason why. For every person that we don't count, we'll lose $18,000 over the 10 years in federal aid for every person that we miss, $18,000 we've lost from our city, from our coffers. And so,
You said that's for 10-year period?
10-year period, $1,800 a year that we would lose per person for those who
Well,
miss.
maybe I'm in no, but that's pocket change. That's pocket change, $1,800 a
No,
year.
no, per
No,
person.
per person.
I understand.
So we get.
Right.
We get.
So if you miss 100,000 people, you're getting into some real money.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, so, yeah, we have published 250,000, and, so there's a lot of outreach, and just make sure people, you know, I think most people, we all will take care, but people that, you know, the homeless, I know, we see people
Yeah.
on park benches and whatever, and you don't have to do anything, but just, hey, tell us, go look here, go look there, and we'll send people, professional people, go and help them with the census, help them complete the form. And that's revenue, that we will, you know, the city will receive for, from highway dollars, health dollars, housing dollars, and just schools, you know.
See if you're taking money
Well, look,
out of general funds.
I'll stay and hang around, but I always enjoy coming. It's just very welcoming, Civic League, and just feel very honored to serve you and to represent you. And please vote.
Well, appreciate your time, taking your time out, and come by and visit. This is very